Yo, people, what's going on? Back again with another footy talk. Lewis, what's good, fam? Merry Christmas and all that, blood.
Yeah, bar humbug. Big up. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Sadly, it's match day though. First home game I'm skipping in years because I just can't be bothered for it. I just took a look at both teams. The form, it's just gonna stink, you know. This game is gonna stink to heaven tonight, and I can't be bothered for it. So I'm just staying at yard.
I hear it, bro. I hear it, bro. Man said you man got fed to the wolves, and that. It's just like
Long.
obviously I think, or I know that it's like it's a structural problem with you guys, isn't it? Like I think that your recruitment is now coming back to bite you in the ass. People could talk about injuries and stuff like that. I think that you dropped the ball on recruitment. I think that your owners or your footballing structure went too far long term instead of addressing the problems that you had in the immediate. And this is what you now have. You have a very unbalanced, disjointed team. I think when you look at any successful team in football, you need experience. You need players that you need young players, you need experience, and you need the players that are young but experienced and are starting to come into their own. I think you need a mixture of all these kinds of players, and I just think that the mixture's very much off with Chelsea.
The mixture's definitely off. With better coaching, we would be higher up the table, but because we don't have that, we would need the experience, and we don't have that as well. So you kind of get caught in a catch-22 of it. But I do agree because of that, the recruitment hasn't been good. Also, with the news that I just heard personally, that we're not getting rid of Poch just because there's nobody else out there. It's just not good enough. It's just pathetic because now we're just stuck in this limbo where we're stuck with a manager who has no clue what he's doing, players who need proper coaching that aren't getting proper coaching, and we're lowering the standards of this club because we're not capable right now. And it's because of this combination of problems. And realistically, this ownership brought in this manager. They spent months looking for a coach, and they end up with Poch. And now we're sitting here another season into this, and it's not nothing's working out for us because of the coaching. Like that, they got to take accountability for bringing in this coach. They got to take accountability for the fact that they can't find another coach.
Yeah.
Like
But
it's just
you know what it makes me wonder though. It makes me wonder what did they expect from Pochettino when they brought him in? What did they
youth
expect from
development.
him?
Like that was the whole hype around him, but nobody's developing. Nobody at all. Like I will say, and I will swear by it, that a better manager would get more out of these players, 100%. But if you're not going to get rid of him, you're enabling this. And from what I've heard, Poch ain't going anywhere, regardless of the result, because they just don't know who to bring in. I'm hearing now top 6 is the aim, when it was meant to be top 4. Like we're just accepting that this guy isn't good enough. So, well, cool, we'll lower the standards then. No, it's just pathetic. It's
But I
just
think
pathetic.
everyone knew that Poch is not really a player developer. Like Poch is a man manager and he's quite pragmatic, but he's never been Pochettino's never been known as the manager that develops young
I
players.
think it was just
So
the Tottenham reign. Just
yeah,
because
but even
we
the
saw
Tottenham
like
thing wasn't a developing young players. It was more managing young talented players and just letting them play football. That's what it was, bro. When you saw like the Deli Allis and all of that, like, bro, he wasn't coaching him. Do you know what I mean? He was
that's
just
what it is. I think everybody just looked at Spurs and they just thought, all right, cool, bunch of young players got them playing together. Cool, we can do the same thing for us. Easy PR. In reality, like it's nothing like that. I wish I did more research into Poch's time at PSG. I was reading a few articles on it, and it literally just sounds like the same crap that we're going through now. Like, let me see if I can. I read it yesterday on my chat, but let me see if I can find it again, and I'll bring it up. Where's my
man
other
saying
contact?
Rants is not
Yeah.
Poch. I know it's not Poch. I know it ain't him, bro. Man saying Poch is better than Ten Hag. I also know that. And that's why when we were
Oh,
linked
my
with
managers
Poch
are
and
just crap.
Ten Hag, yeah, I categorically said, even though, yeah, I was more interested in the Ajax style of play and stuff like that. I said for the players that we have currently in our squad, Pochettino suits Man United better because he's more of a manager. Cool, he's got the players and then he does the pragmatic thing. Like that's what he does. He's not a developer of players, bruv. I wanted us to develop a style and an identity. That's why I wanted Ten Hag to bring the Ajax football. He hasn't brought that. But giving Poch a brand new team, yeah, of players that haven't played together, young players as well, bro, it's a difficult job, man. And especially when you've got no true leaders in the team. I wouldn't necessarily blame him for what's going on at Chelsea. I think that there's things that he could be doing better, could have done better, but I think ultimately your recruitment has let the manager down for the style of manager you have.
I could say it's a bit of both, to be honest. Like, I'm not going to say the recruitment have not done anything wrong. They have. They completely have. The problem is, I think a better manager would have us in the European spots, and then we'd be talking with higher expectations, saying, no, we shouldn't be in the European spots. We should be going for top 4. Then we could potentially look at the recruitment and say, okay, the recruitment hasn't really done enough. We need a bit more experience with it. We don't even have that. We haven't been in the top 7 all season. That's why I'm like, at the bare minimum, I need a better coach that can get more out of these players. And then we can talk about, oh, we need more experience to climb even further up than that. Right now, we ain't even got that. We're 7 points ahead of the relegation zone. At Christmas. This team is better than that. Now, if you can talk to me about whether they're good enough for top 4, cool, we can have that debate. We're not even talking about that. We're talking about whether this team is good enough to be in 11th place, good enough to be 7 points off the relegation zone. They are better than that. They are 100% better than that.
Yeah, but this is why I'm saying I'm not saying that the manager's not doing anything wrong, because you're right. Your team is a lot better than on paper than where your position suggests, or are they?
Oh, they're way better. We could go name by name, and like we'd find more than 11 players who are capable.
I hear that, but the thing is with football, yeah, it's also about cohesion as well. Like it's not just about the individuals; it's about how they gel. It's about how they complement each other.
Profiling the players, and we constantly misprofile them. We'll put Gallagher in the pivot and Enzo in the 10, chasing the ball. We'll have Chilwell left wing. We'll have Colwell left back. We'll play with one fullback like we did against Wolves. And then when we want to bring on another fullback, we'll take the right back off instead. And we'll put the centre back at right back and bring on a centre back at 1-0 down. Like it's a combination of everything. One thing I've realized, it just turns into a big argument over who's more to blame. The ownership, the recruitment, the manager. They're all culpable. It's just who you see as the major problem. To me, major problem is the coach, because we would be higher up the table and we wouldn't be complaining to this level if that wasn't the case. Then we could bring in more experience and we would already be in a position where we could say, okay, we're 7th, we're 8th or something. It's not ideal, but we're in a better position than we're in last season, and we're still close enough to top 4 that we can realistically say we can have a fight for it with better options that come in January. Now we can't even really say that, because of all the mistakes and all the stupidity that we've done in the last 4 months. That's where my problem is.
No, I hate
if I could say the manager's taken these players as far as they can, and the experience isn't there, and we need more, then fine, cool. The manager hasn't done that. The manager has not got anything out of this squad. So they're still at the starting gates.
No, that's fair. Listen, I don't watch you guys every week, so you would know. Like, this guy said our team was helped together during pre-season. Then during the season, Poch changed everything up. Now the players and coaching staff are all confused. Like, to be fair, in pre-season, you guys did look good. I don't know what's changed between then. I don't know what's changed between then. Like, what can you attest to the changes, bro? Like, what changes have been made? Or is it just injuries?
See, that there's been a couple of injuries. There's been just complete misprofiling after that. Like, I don't remember us playing Colwell at left back during pre-season. Yeah, we had Kepa as our goalkeeper for most of pre-season. He was being looked at to be our number 1 for this season, and then we end up bringing another one just like that. So, like, it's been a complete change up to what we've seen in pre-season. A complete change up. The likes of Ian Maatsen, who you could argue was probably one of our top 3 players in pre-season, can barely get into the team. He's our only fit left back, and instead we're putting centre backs into fullbacks who don't feel comfortable in that position. Likes of Levi Cole are being ripped apart left, right, and centre for their performances. He ain't a fullback. He's a centre back. So
So
like,
yeah,
yeah, preseason's been awful. Preseason compared to now feels completely different. Feels like a different Chelsea team, a different style of play. We looked a lot quicker in possession. Now we're static. We're slow. Decision making's not good. You could argue a little bit comes down to it just being preseason, but like player like Nicholas Jackson, for example, his performances and his form in preseason and the first few games of this season are night and day compared to what I'm seeing now. The confidence is completely drained. The
but
development is
it's
non-existent.
definitely confidence, bro. Because the thing is, yeah, this guy has got talent, bro. But it's just he's a weird player to look at. Like he's inconsistent, but he's got something about him. But yeah, I don't know, bro. It's weird, man. It's actually weird. I think he's better than what he's showing for sure.
Yeah, I agree in terms of confidence because like the number one thing I've noticed with him is that he over touches, overplays everything. That
Yeah.
screams lack of confidence. But I could say that for the whole front line because they all seem to do it. It's only really Cole Palmer and maybe Nkuku because he's just come into the team. Other than that, everyone else overtouched it, but it screams lack of confidence. And to be honest, lack of patterns. Like when we go forward, it's like we're just making it up as we go along. Everything we do going forward comes to a moment of magic from either Sterling or Enzo or Palmer, or it's an individual mistake. That's why like, I couldn't even get gassed over the 2 victories we had before the Wolves loss. Everyone's like to be, oh, you're too negative. You're not happy when we lose. You're not happy when we win. That Sheffield United game was atrocious until the second half. Absolutely atrocious. We were just lucky with the fact that we played Sheffield United. It was a moment of magic from Sterling and a moment of magic from a moment of good awareness from Palmer and Jackson for the second. Newcastle, the only thing that got us through that game was Kieran Trippier chesting the ball down in space in the 94th minute. That is it. We did nothing to deserve even to get through to penalties. People will just be like, oh, we dominated possession. Newcastle never deserved to win. Sorry, they got an easy goal and just sat back. They're in crap form. Of course, they're going to do it. Their away form stinks, but we were 2 minutes away from hearing Eddie Howe masterclass. Mourinho-esque performance at an away ground. Now we're going to call him an idiot for parking the bus just because it didn't work because Trippier made a mistake. Whoop-de-doo. No, we did nothing to deserve that win. Congratulations to Poch for finally putting fullbacks on the pitch, but it took him to the 80th minute to put both of them on.
Yeah.
Nearly too late. We were lucky Trippier had a mess up. That's it.
Bruv, listen, I hear you, innit? I hear you. And this is just what it is. I think a lot of people can't see a performance and they can't see a performance for what it really is, innit? Like the people only look at the result. Yeah, they don't want to. They only look at the results. And the thing is, yeah, results aren't really an issue for me a lot of the time if the performances are there, because a lot of the time results don't reflect performances in football. They don't. You could most of the time they probably
Look,
don't.
Tottenham, for example. I've seen games where Tottenham lose, but their fans are like, we had a good game.
Yeah, we
did
played
the
well.
best we could. We lost based on moments. And people
Yep.
take the mick out of them and all of that, but you see where they're coming from because there's still a visible style of play. I don't remember a single game that we've dropped points in, except maybe Arsenal, but even then I can blame Poch's subs.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know a single game where we dropped points in where I've said it's not the manager. Actually, no, Man City. We should have won that game. Anthony Taylor screwed us. That's it. That's it. Every other game that we've dropped points in, Poch is either a primary or a secondary problem. So why is he not my primary issue with what's going on right now? Because again, with a better manager, we would be a bit higher up the table and we can look higher up as a result. Now I'm meant to accept the fact that we're not looking at top 4 anymore and we're looking for top 6. That is so infuriating because of this manager, because of his idiotic decisions, because of his lack of style of play, because of his crap game management. I didn't know this until my last game, but we've never been losing a league game at half-time.
Yep.
Never. But then his
crazy.
game management comes into play. Then his decision-making, his substitutions, and we continue to drop points. That's why I will hear all the criticisms about the ownership. And forget this narrative that I leave the owners alone. No, I've been saying for the last couple weeks, they are my secondary problem. My problem with them stems from them allowing Poch to stay in this job and enabling this crap. And also, my bigger worry is if we get rid of Poch and they don't bring in the right guy after that. Because if they don't bring in the right guy after that, then they become my primary problem. Until then, my primary problem is Pochettino. I'm sick of people calling me a Bowley stan or an ownership stan or anything. No. The bigger picture to me is Poch.
Yeah.
He's not getting the best out of any of these players. These players, you can argue, are not a top 4 team. Fine. I could have agreed with you on that anyway. They're good enough to compete for top 4. They're good enough to get into the top 6. They're good enough to get into European spots. If you're going to tell me that this squad is 11th place quality, you're deluded. You're straight deluded.
No. It's definitely way more. Quality is way more.
Even though our attack, you could argue, isn't good enough, it's better than last season. It's much better than we had last season. So why are we pretending these players aren't good enough? This manager isn't good enough. That's the problem. I look at a Thomas Tuchel, for example. He would cook with this team. A better midfield and a better attack than he had when he left. He'd cook. But nah.
Yeah, possibly. But like this comment, he said Chelsea fans want to win the style of play. Potter has style, but we are not winning. Still crazy though, not giving a manager even a season. But this is the thing. That's why I'm confused what Chelsea are trying to build. Because it's like, if you want to build a culture and a style of play, then you bring in a certain type of manager. If you just want to get results, then you bring in a certain type of manager. But then if you bring in a certain type of manager, you then need to bring in the players to match the manager. And that's why when people are saying to me, oh, would you take Emery and that? Nah, bro. Like, Emery plays survival ball, blood. Do you know what I'm saying? Man don't need that. But for the kind of players that Pochettino would need, I just don't think the recruitment matches the manager, bro. I don't think it does.
But then here's the thing. Poch should not have spoken with the energy that he spoke with when he first came into the Chelsea job. Because if he didn't, and if he was saying the same things that you're saying right now, where it's like, this team isn't the ideal team for me, we're building something long term. I know Chelsea's a team that needs to win now, but I need patience for at least this first season. There's going to be ups and downs. It's not going to be pretty, but I need you to trust me that in the long term, I'm the guy that can take this team forward. We might not like it, but we'd accept it. It'd be like, you called it from the start. This guy came in and said that Chelsea were a team that needs to win now. This team is capable of doing it. He was talking about competing for top 4, competing for all trophies, getting back into the Champions League. Even quietly spoke about the Premier League.
Yeah.
But he didn't match that energy. After 3 games when we lost to Forest, he starts talking about patience. Why am I meant to believe in this guy? He's contradictory as hell. He spoke about how Bournemouth was a must-win game, no excuses, and then he started time-wasting for a point from the 75th minute. He's a joke. He's an absolute joke. That's why he's the guy who I have the least faith in out of everything. And for the recruitment right now, my biggest problem is that this is the guy that they brought in after months of looking for a coach. Because that's incompetent. In terms of players, I can't write them off. I can't. I asked for a clear out. I got a clear out. I got players that I do believe are good enough to do well, but they're not being coached to the right standard. And that's my problem. Because again, it goes back to the fact that we'd be higher up the table if that wasn't the case.
No, you're 100% right. I think what it seems like your biggest issue is what the manager represented and what he said he was going to do and compared to what he's doing. And I think that's my biggest issue with Ten Hag as well. So I think we're in the same boat in terms of this manager came in, he was supposed to bring in a certain culture, a certain style of play. He hasn't done that. And he came in with all the big talk, talking about ending eras and that. And here we are now, scored the same amount of goals as Luton Town. Like, this is where we are, innit? And I think we've only conceded around a similar amount of goals to teams that are in the bottom half of the table. So when you look at all the talk, all the money he's spent, all the players that have come in, the football we is expecting, we're not getting that. And I think what you're saying is if Poch came in and said, you know what, I've got young players, it's a long-term project and this, that and the other, maybe you'd have been a bit more forgiving. But because he's coming with a big talk, talking about winning stuff and finishing in the top 4, man just getting cooked every week.
And he just failed. He gave me something different from the start. And like all the stuff that I heard against him started becoming visible from match day 2. Poor subs, late subs, inability to break down a low block to save his life, no plan B, no game management. Like the PSG article, I just found it. Let me read this to you because this just sounds so much like Chelsea. And this was Poch after a year. The biggest problem is the superstar's lack of identity. Pochettino has been at the club for a year, and the team is struggling to cohere. They cannot beat a press. They cannot build from the back. They have no circuits for passing. There's not enough movement, no triangles, no overlaps. The consensus within the dressing room is that Pochettino is great at the man management aspect of the job, and the players like him, but many feel he's too limited tactically, or at least they're not working hard enough on their tactics. It could be a reason why there hasn't been sufficient improvement as a collective. If you removed Mbappe's incredible season so far, with late goals against Lyon, Angers, Lille, Nantes, Metz, Saint-Etienne, the picture and mood around PSG's season would be a lot more different. The difference is we don't have Mbappe, we have Sterling. Everything else, the exact same. It's the exact same. I read that and I thought I was reading a piece on Chelsea. Nah, it's a piece on PSG.
No, the Sterling thing's mad. I know people keep showing he didn't pass the ball and all these other things, but it's like even that Sterling recruitment, obviously amazing for Raheem, innit? Like he got his move back to London, what he wanted. He got his money and all these other things, but you lot were supposed to be signing a talisman, innit? He wasn't the right signing. I can't remember how much you would have spent. You would have spent what he, because I remember he went
40,
there for 60.
45.
Okay, so he went there for 60. You spent 45 million on a player that is supposed to be experienced, supposed to be the talisman. Man, he's supposed to really be winning you games. I'll be honest. When you buy a player in that age bracket, I think, what is he, about 27, 28, around that age bracket?
He's 29 now.
Okay. When you buy players in that age bracket with the experience that he's got, this guy has played for Liverpool and Manchester City. He's got one of the best resumes in English football. And you buy a player like that, you expect this brother to come in here and be affecting games regularly. So, yeah, man, for him to do that, and also not just do that, but a lot of games where he hasn't turned up in.
See, the annoying thing is he was
horrible
still our best
business.
player in the last game.
I know, but it's horrible business. He's going to be your best player, and he's supposed to be, but he's supposed to be your best player every week, I'll be honest.
Yep, and he's supposed to have much better decision-making than the things we see. Like, it's very annoying with Sterling, because this guy will be very frustrating. He'll make some dumbass decisions per game, but he'll produce you some moments of magic, make some big chances, he'll eventually get some GNA. So to a point, you kind of have to firm it, because who else are you going to rely on to consistently get GNA? Is going to be him. He's going to be the most likely person. So you just have to keep feeding him the ball and just hope he ends up doing something. But he's always going to frustrate you. There's going to be periods where he runs into players instead of trying to actually beat the player. One-on-one, he is genuinely the last player I ever want through on goal. 3v1, 2v1, 4v1, 1v1. He will find a way to mess it up. But eventually he'll do something. Like, even inspired that one mistake, he was constantly making chances. Before that, he put the ball to Broya and Jackson on a plate twice, and the pair of them just misplaced their touches. He ended up getting the assist for Nkuku. So it's like, I'll be annoyed about him, but he's getting me GNA. He's turning up in some areas and being let down by the other players around him. You could argue he's probably the least of our issues going forward.
He is the least of your issues, but bro, this is why you man.
We need more than him.
This is where you man need to hear me out, yeah, because yes, he might be the least of your issues, but this is the same way where I say, when I'm listing the Man United players that are the problem, and what people don't seem to realize, a lot of people say, oh yeah, but we've got bigger problems. No, because it's not the player's output, it's what the player symbolizes and what you're getting from them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because if you're in a dressing room, because what people are very, very good at in society, yeah, is looking at other people and saying, oh, what? But he's doing that. But he's doing this. So if you've got a player that's on 300 and something grand a week, he's 29 years old and he's supposed to be the example and he's fucking up. Then everyone else, all the young G's have been like, yeah, but what about that chance Sterling missed? What? But he should have passed me the
Yep.
ball. Now they've got a scapegoat. Now they've got an excuse. Do you
Just
know what
to
I'm saying?
build on that
Because
as
now,
well, after
because
the
you've lost that
3v1,
game, bro. You've lost that game, bro. You've lost that
Yep.
game now. Chelsea fans, the young Chelsea players that have been playing shit now, like the Jacksons, maybe Cole didn't have a great game or whatever. They can now look to that chance and say, yo, you get me? Like, but well gone for my man. Didn't pass the ball.
Literally after that moment as well, I saw Cole Palmer have the ball in the brilliant position where he could have laid it to Jackson easily, but he went for the long shot.
Why?
That
Because
selfishness
that's it.
started getting the other players selfish.
But
So
there
I
you
hear
go.
you.
Well, there you go. Because all that happens is, yeah, they're like, right, all right, cool. So Raheem's not passing. I need to take the game into my own hands and try and win it myself because these man ain't trying to play team ball no more. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is what it is. Bro, when you're the guy, and this is why certain players can't be the guy. Certain players can only be, yeah, a good player in a system, but they can't be the guy. Same with Gabriel Jesus at Arsenal. When he was at Man City, he was part of a good team and that, but he's not good enough to be the guy because you can't rely on him. Do you know what I'm saying? And when you're the guy, you're the one that's gonna puff out your chest, bro. You're the guy that's gonna be the Kobe, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be the LeBron. When you're the guy and everyone's looking at you to do it, can you do it? Can you do it when the pressure's on you? Raheem can't do it because he's not that guy. So when you bring in a player in a rebuild, put him on as much money as he's on, bring him in at the stage of his career that he's in, he's supposed to be the decisive player. And he's not decisive.
And we can't rely on him enough to be
You
that.
can't rely on him.
I hear
you
it.
know what I mean? And it's the same with Arsenal signing Kai Havertz as well. Do you know what I'm saying? For all of that money, putting him on all of that money. And you can't rely on this guy. You do not spend that amount. Exactly. You don't spend that much money on players. Put them on that much money for them to be indecisive because then they become the benchmark for everyone else to look at. That's why Jadon Sancho can now say, you know what, I'm not playing well, but look at what fucking Anthony's doing. Because the managers brought him in for 100 million and decided he's playing every week. So now, even though Jadon wasn't the Jadon at Dortmund, he can look at Anthony and say, you know what, I wasn't playing well, but look how shit this Brent's
like
playing.
Lukaku when we got him in after the UCL. And yeah, I'm starting to think of way more examples.
Bro, this is how football works, bro. This is how football, bro. Fuck football, yeah, for a second, because we don't just talk about football on the channel. This is how life works. If you work in an office, yeah, and the geezer that sits next to you don't work as hard as you, and you see that he always takes an extra 20 minutes on his lunch break, and he always logs out of his computer at 4 o'clock, how long is it before...
doing what he's doing?
Bruv, how long is it until, yeah, you're like, hold on, this brother's on the same money as me. Maybe he's making more money than me. Why am I working harder than him? And he gets paid more than me. And he has an hour and 20-minute lunch breaks. I only have an hour. And then I stay till my work is done. I'm here till 4:30, 5 o'clock. He leaves at 4. Why the fuck am I going to work harder? I'm going to be as good as him. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's the kind of environment that you're breeding. You can't have the guy that's on the most money, has the most experience, performing the same as everyone else. He has to be head and shoulders better than everyone else, or else everyone else.
That's also the quiet conversation with Thiago Silva at the back too, because his brother's been making mistakes on the weekly.
Well, there you go. And the thing is, when the OG's making the mistakes now, and he's still trying to keep the young G's in check, then you get the Mason Greenwood.
This is also quietly why I can't hear the experience argument too, because I just think coaches will coach.
Yeah, but you need experience, but you need good people. You need experience, but you need good players as well. It's the same with Mason and CR7. He was like, yo, don't be barking orders at me, bro, because you're dying every week. Do you know what I'm saying? And this is the thing. You can have this status, but you also have to be performing. When you're not performing, when a player's not performing, the manager has to take the players out the team, because if he doesn't, it creates resentment. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden...
Especially when we play one game a week. There's not enough game time anyway.
Well, there you go. It creates resentment, because the thing is, you, as a man, you should be competitive up to a certain point. As an athlete, you have to be competitive up to a certain point. And when you feel like you're competing with somebody that's not playing well, yeah, and they're getting picked anyway, you get a Jadon Sancho situation where he's like, I'm not apologizing to the manager because what's the point? What's the point? Because his team's not picked on merit now. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, cool, I'm not playing well, but I'm not playing worse than him.
Situation where he's going after Tuchel because he's not getting game time either.
Well, there you go. I'm not playing cool, I'm not playing great, but I'm playing better than him. So now it takes away the accountability from Jadon. So instead of Jadon saying, yo, like, I'm not playing to the level that I should be playing at, I need to focus on that, I can focus on the fact that Anthony's been rubbish instead. So he doesn't need to take self-accountability now. Do you know what I mean? And he's a player that I love. But bro, I'll be real. For the amount of talent that Jadon's got, he's supposed to be the best player in the country. And it's not hard to be the best player in the Premier League because most of these players are average. He's supposed to be the best player in the Premier League. On ability, he's meant to be the best player in the league. He's meant to be the best player in the England team. But he's not, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? And he can focus on the fact that Anthony's been rubbish. Cool, you can focus on that. But what I'm seeing Musiala do for Bayern Munich, yeah, Jadon's supposed to be doing that for Man United. He's supposed to be doing that for England, but he's not. Instead, he's competing with a brother that doesn't have a tenth of the ability that he has in Anthony, and he's beefing with a manager when really he should be looking at himself saying, "Yo, why can't I show these man what I can do, bro?" And that's the problem. When you have players like Anthony in the team that's getting picked by the manager when he's not playing well and he's not doing nothing, it gives people like Jadon an excuse to say, you know what? I don't even need to look at myself, bro. I'm better than him and I've been playing better than him. Or I haven't been as bad as him. Instead of looking at why I'm not performing at the level I'm performing at, I can just say, yeah, but he's been worse than me. It's an easy cop out now. So now people can look at Sterling and they'll just be like, listen, bro, Sterling passed me, would have won the game. I don't need to look at my performance. I don't need to. Yep.
No one's even looking at the whole 90 minutes now anyway. The whole narrative is just Sterling should have passed.
That's
it.
That's the point.
I spoke so much about the game management, the poor set pieces for the first goal, the poor substitutes that led to the second goal. But the only thing I hear is, did Poch tell Sterling not to pass the ball? Because that's all people care about now.
But this is the point. Do you know what I'm saying? But this is the point, my bro. This is what I'm saying to you, yeah? The whole game has become Sterling Gate now. It's not even about the 90 minutes.
Yep.
And you know what? It might be his fault that you lost the game. Because if he passes that, he should have passed it to Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer slots it in. Forget Jackson, because Jackson was offside because he's an idiot. But
was he off?
Yeah, he was offside. He was offside. If he passed it to Jackson, if he passed it to Jackson, it would have been offside. Jackson was ahead of the game.
Kidding me, bro.
He was ahead of play, but Cole Palmer wasn't. If he passes it to Cole Palmer taps it in, you win the game, cool. However, now we get to take away from everything else that's happened in the game now because Sterling didn't pass the ball.
Yep, no one wants to talk about any other part of the game. Sound like I was talking about Poch. They say, "Oh, this is just your Poch agenda coming out." No, I was willing to say, "Talk to me about the players. Talk to me about the attack. All of that. We can give them smoke too because they all stunk out that first half. But everything from the second, manager, 100% manager. That game management was pathetic. The set pieces, offensively and defensively, were pathetic. The fact that there was no change in setup." No change in game management, nothing. The subs late. We finally bring on a left back and we take the right back off. We bring on a centre back at 1-0 down, and the centre back is responsible for the second goal.
You see what I mean?
Why are you even bringing on a centre back?
That's what I mean. Look at all the things that the manager has got wrong, but everyone's talking about Sterling, and this is why you have to make sure, when a player like Sterling has the status in the team that he has to be performing. Because if he's not performing, it's a domino effect and it affects everyone else. Do you know what I mean? That's why when Ten Hag was doing the manager's son thing with Anthony, and it had Sancho's nose out of joint, Martial's nose out of joint, Rashford's nose out of joint. Make sure, that when you make a decision like that as a manager, that the player that you back, is performing. Because if he's not, it messes up everything. It messes up everything. And that's why when people say, Sterling's the least of the problems, it's not him as the player, it's what he represents to the squad. It's the same with CR7, what he represented to the squad. The reason why he was the problem was not because of his performances on the pitch. He was the problem because he had a massive influence in the dressing room. He had a massive ego, a massive presence, but his performances were not matching up to his demands of all his teammates. You can't ask me to do something that you're not doing yourself. You
Higher
can't.
expectations as
Yeah,
well for the more experienced players. I hear it.
that's
That's
it.
why you got more the Thiago Silvas, the Sterlings.
Bro, the guy was on
It's even the Gallagher's.
500,000 a week. He was on 500,000 a week. You can't be in the team on 500,000 a week and just games are bypassing you, bro. Like, I think in March he had 9 Premier League goals. In March. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't be chatting to me if you got 9 Premier
Nope.
League goals in March. That's crazy. Do you know what I
You
mean?
got to
Like,
be
I
the
don't,
best player on the pitch for that sort of experience, though. Because when you're
bro,
playing badly, the teams need to look to you. They want to give you the
exactly.
ball and rely on you.
And if you're not one of the best players in the team, you have to be on the bench. A man need to see you as, yo, this is the OG. He used to be the man, and now he's here to make us better. Similar
Like
role that
16,
Zlatan had.
17, John Terry. When
Exactly.
Conte benched him and he moved to the back three, Terry didn't make no big deal, nothing. He just sat back. He's like, cool, I'm here to help you, man. I'm here to be like the little calming voice in the dressing room, motivate you, man. And that's it. I'm not going to sit here and cry about like a game time. You give me the cup games against Peterborough. Whatever,
Yeah.
I don't care. I'm here, innit?
Exactly. And this is what it is. So, and that's why they're saying that's why my man got rid of Aubameyang, because bro, you got to understand, yeah, what a person symbolizes, yeah, is more than just their contribution on the pitch. And if Ronaldo's got the attitude, he's got the attitude like he's still at Real Madrid and he's still the Ronaldo that was at Real Madrid, but he's not performing like that. It creates a lot of resentment because man are like, yo, how can you be doing all this big talk and then this is what you're doing out there? And then on top of that, the manager can't bench you because when the manager benches you, you're effing and blinding and throwing things and kicking bottles and that. This is why he had to leave. It's not because that doesn't mean, yeah, that two things can't be right at the same time. Ten Hag is a punk. And maybe Ten Hag never dealt with him correctly. However, he's his own worst enemy because he's mad petulant. So more than one thing can be true at the same time, and that's the thing with life. There are a lot of nuances. It's not everything is cut and dry. Like there can be two right answers.
People never realize that when they're talking about football. I've noticed it with so many football arguments. You man could save yourself 20, 30 minutes of beefing over nothing if you just accepted the other side of the coin. But people don't want to do that. It's just my point of vision is correct. Yours is wrong. I'm not listening to you. You could just be like, no, I hear your points. I think my points are the bigger issue, but I hear your side as well. That's also culpable. I'm not taking that away from you.
Yeah,
Everyone
but it's
just
just
wants
like
their
in
side of the
football,
coin to be
a
correct.
player can be a good player and have a bad game. A player can be a bad player and have a good game. And a player can be a bad player, play shit, and score a hat trick. Like football is not linear. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like loads of things it's a team sport. Football is a team sport. So a lot of the times you can be the beneficiary of a team performance and not play well yourself. That's been Marcus Rashford for a while. Marcus Rashford scored 30 goals last season and he probably didn't have 5 good games last season. So it's one of them things where you can 100% be the beneficiary of a team performance as an individual. And this is the problem. So like bro, like look at Hojlund yesterday, he scored the goal, all of that. He was rubbish yesterday. He was rubbish. Literally. And he scored a goal and he was crying and everyone, all of a sudden, 1 goal in 15 games, everyone was saying, where are all you guys that said he wasn't good enough? He's got 1 goal
Bro,
in
we got
15
Chelsea
games.
fans saying now Hojlund's been better than Jackson this season. Like what?
No, he
Like
hasn't.
Jackson ain't even been great, but like let's not do this.
Bro,
7 goals in
I'm
14 league games.
taking
I'm fine.
Jackson over Hojlund tomorrow, bro. Because they both run around, but one of them can actually control a football. And yeah, cool. Jackson can't finish, but neither can Hojlund. So it's one of them ones. If you're going to give me 2 players that can't finish, give me the player that has a bit more to his game. And at least I see Jackson dropping deep and trying to link play and do all these other things. Like Hojlund's useless. And that's just what it is. And I'm someone that really wanted him to do well. You guys saw when I looked at the Hojlund compilations before we signed him. And what did I say? I said I'd play him on the right wing. And now I've seen him play for Man United. I'm still saying I'd play him on the right wing. He's not a striker. He might be able to play a striker in international football for Denmark, but what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah, international football's it ain't nothing until you get to the big tournaments.
Bro, international football
when it's
ain't
the
nothing.
Euros, it don't even mean anything till the knockout rounds.
Bro, listen, John Obi Mikel played in the 10 in international football. David Alaba played in midfield in international football. Flipping, what's his name? Zinchenko plays number 10 for his country. International
they put
football.
Havertz at left back for 2
Bro,
games.
even Alphonso Davies plays in midfield for his country, bro. Listen, international football's trash. Do you know what I'm saying? Most of the time it's rubbish. Unless you're playing, in tournaments and stuff like that. Absolute trash.
Yeah, it's only tournaments.
Trash.
South America, you could find some good fixtures in there, to be fair.
Yeah, but South America is more condensed. More condensed.
Yeah.
So because of that, there's a lot more quality in international football. But on the whole, international football in Europe,
ain't nothing.
It's awful.
When you're doing them group stage Euro qualifiers against San Marino and them, we're trying to flex that. No, come on.
Yeah, but this is what I'm trying to say. So, like, just because Rasmus plays up front for his country, that does not mean that he can play up front in a good team, bro. He's a right winger. That's what he is. In the modern game, he's a right forward. That's what he is. I don't know if he can cross because I haven't really seen him out there, but he shouldn't be playing down the middle for Man United. He struggles every week. And people really want to see him do well, but I'm not out here for the wanting to see people do well. It's either you're doing well or
a little
you're not.
Story, innit?
Yeah.
Nice little underdog story.
It's either you're doing well or you're not, and he's not doing well. He's not doing well, bro. So instead of us trying to rewrite history, that just put him on the right wing or drop him. That's it, because he's not good enough. I'll be real, like that's just what it is. A man is saying he's only 20. Yeah, that's fine. But he's not good enough now. Only 20.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's all right. Sit on the bench for a year, then you'll be 21. You know, like that. When man saying he's only 20. So what? Man is supposed to put up with poor performances because of his age. When did we become that club?
That's not it. Like, just because he don't fit the boots don't mean he won't fit the boots in a year or two time. But you need someone who can fit it now. That's it. You need someone who can fit it now. If he was the number 2, there'd be a lot less pressure on him. Like Jackson's another example. He ain't.
That's why I said we need to get Kane. That's why I said we need to get Kane. You know what I mean? And then we bring in Hojlund as the understudy. Bring him off the bench.
And realistically, we should have looked for another number 9, but there just wasn't options out there. We didn't want that.
But that's why we should have just got Harry Kane, bruv.
You guys. You guys.
And that's what I'm saying. And this is what I mean. That's it. Martial was 19, bagging 17. Bro, Martial, is 10 times the footballer than Hojlund will ever be. But unfortunately, Anthony Martial's injuries have done him over. There's nothing that we can do about that. Do you know what I'm saying? But the thing is, the age argument only comes into effect when players are not good enough. No one's talking about Bukayo Saka's age right now because he's a player that's established himself as one of the best players in the league in his position at a very young age. No one talks about his age. No one spoke about Rooney's age. Like, literally, Man United, everyone wants to talk about the class of 92, These guys were kids when they came through, At not one point, was anyone talking about any of these individual players' ages when they were doing well. There was none of that. You got the famous quote, you never win anything with kids and all that rubbish, But that was before these men had proven themselves. Once these men had proven, that they were good enough to be there, their age was not a discussion. We only talk about players' age when they're not playing well. That is it. That is it. So, by default, the age needs to be removed. The age needs to be removed, bro. And 100%. The Salah and the De Bruyne situation, the reason why they didn't play at Chelsea because they weren't good enough. And the reason why they weren't good enough is because Chelsea had a team of winners that were winning and they weren't up to the level. So they had to leave. It doesn't mean that they weren't good players. It just means that they weren't good enough.
Rid of them. The problem wasn't getting rid of them. It was no buyback clause, no first refusal, all of that. Getting rid of them, it made sense. Like De Bruyne had to go through Oscar, he had to go through Mata, he had to go through Hazard, Willian. Same thing with Salah. Both of them were never going to make it here. But the problem wasn't that. The problem was just to let them go, and you're like, there you go, not a problem now. Bigger issue.
But this is what I'm saying. So when man are playing rubbish, it's always, but he's young. But then when they're playing well, all of a sudden age isn't an issue. because they're not saying that you're playing well for a 17-year-old or for an 18-year-old or for a 19-year-old. When Kobe Mino plays well, he's not playing well for an 18-year-old. He's playing well for a
In
Manchester
general.
United footballer.
Mm-hmm.
So don't bring the age into the conversation here when these men are dying. Let them die. Because this is football. Do you know what I'm saying? This is war. It's a sport. You know what I mean? If you join the army, bro, and you got your uniform on and you got your gun in your hand, you can be 23 or 33. Don't matter how old you are, bro. Can you shoot and not get shot? Because if you can't, you're gonna die. And
Facts.
and that's just how it
They're not going to
is.
be like, you're too young. It's all right. We'll just take you
Hey,
prisoner.
bro, listen. Once you're old enough to put on that uniform, you're going out there, bro, and your life is your life, broski. You know, like that. It's not, you know what, like, he's only 19. We're not gonna send him out there. Nah, bro. As soon as you're old enough to put on a uniform and load that clip, you're one of the mandem. That's it. You know, like that. So I'm not going easy on players because they're younger. Do you know what I mean? There'll be certain things that I can overlook because of their age. Absolutely. However,
There's a standard that has to be upheld.
there has to be a standard that needs a minimum standard that needs to be upheld. And if you're falling below that, I don't care if you're 38 or 18, you shouldn't be playing, bruv.
Facts. Simple as that.
Period. You know, like that. Period. I'm not out here for
I'm
the
just
sentiment.
playing players into form and all of this. Nah, you're either good enough or you're not. And
That's
if you
it.
have to play someone into form, then you need to talk about your depth, in all honesty.
Of course. And this is how it should be, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're old enough to wear the shirt, that's it. You're old enough to
Fact.
hold smoke, bruv. Do you know what I'm saying? The famous quote. You know what I'm saying? And this is exactly
I
what
remember
it
how
is.
they tried to cook you for that Garnacho thing as well.
But they tried to cook me, and now it's in January. A man's got 3 goals.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? And he scored 2 of them in one game. But I'm in the mud apparently. Nah, bro, I'm winning this. Not even winning. I've won the war already. You know like that? Because he ain't got long left, whether people like it or not. Because if these new owners are even if they're 10% serious about this football club, even if they're 10%, he won't be good enough. He won't be. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's
Not
just
doing
one of
enough.
them. Yeah,
Can't be patient. You need now. Need
Yep.
more options now.
That's it.
This whole window that's been done to try and fit Ten Hag hasn't worked for you guys. So now you have to rebuild. Again, to be honest, you need a fat rebuild with the players that you have. So there should be a
100%.
lot, not just Garnacho going. He's just one out of a massive list.
No, 100%, bro. And this is exactly what it is. The guy had like 4 or 5 bad games in a row. Like, man got hooked the last game. They scored a brace. All of a sudden, I'm in the mud. Come on, mate.
Now you know what it's like with the stands. You have one good game out of 15 and you're in the mud.
Yeah, 100%. Man saying Sterling is one of the problems at Chelsea. We haven't seen 3 good games in a row from him. Agreed. Since he's come in, the young G's can't be looking up to him as the standard. He's just not good enough. Agreed. And this is what it is, guys. At the end of the day, they always say, yeah, with great power comes great responsibility, bro. And he's been brought in as the talisman of the club. Whether he saw it like that or not, he was meant to be.
He
like
saw it like that. That's why he wanted to leave City in the first place.
Yeah,
He wanted to
like,
be a main man.
that's meant to be his club. That's meant to be his that's meant to be his club. That's meant to be his franchise, bro. He's meant to be the face of the franchise. He's meant to be the face of Chelsea. He's got no leadership skills. He can't perform consistently at a high level.
Bro, I saw the guy trying to take a pen off Cole Palmer when he was our designated penalty taker.
But this is what I'm trying to say. And even then,
mid-game.
But this is the thing. And the man them told him, nah, you're not that guy. And imagine, from a man's telling you, nah, you're not that guy. And you're on the most money. And you're a lot older than the man them. And they're like,
Most
nah, you're not him. Do you know what I mean? And they say, nah, you're not that guy. Let Cole have it. Do you understand? So when they're saying that, that tells you everything you need to know. Because you're not the big dog.
You're not him.
You're not the big dog. Do you know what I mean? Could you imagine someone taking the ball off Frank Lampard? You couldn't.
Nope. Drogba tried to. He was like, no. We're going for a league title. Fall back, bro.
This
him.
This is what I'm
Sterling's
trying to
like,
say.
no. Give me that. No. Just stay.
But this is exactly what I'm trying to say. And Enzo's someone that's new in the club. And he was like, no. Come on, bruv. Listen. Listen, we're trying to win this game, innit? So, and that's what I mean. So when Enzo, yeah, who's a young G to him, is telling him, nah, relax, like you're not him. That's mad. That's mad to me. And he's on the most money. So you have to understand that it is a problem. So even though his ability might not be an issue, everything that comes along with him, yeah, is unsettling. Because football's not just the 90 minutes that you see on match day. It's also the 15 minutes at halftime. It's the hour before the game. It's after the game. And it's all the days in training leading up to that. And you can't have a certain level or expectation for your teammates or come with a certain amount of status, yeah, that hasn't been earned, bro. Because certain men start undermining you and then they start trying to pull rank. That's what happens. It always happens. It always happens, bro.
The
Like you
best will
need to look.
eventually pull rank because, like, they're the best. Cole Palmer's come in and instantly raised the bar.
Yep,
Instantly.
exactly.
Sterling hasn't really. He's pushing it, but like not with enough consistency. Palmer
And
for
this
the
is
age and the expectations is like, wow, fair enough. I look at you and I'm thinking in a year or two's time, that's the guy I'm building the team around.
but this is the thing.
Sterling, nah. Year or two's time, you're either sitting on the bench or you're out of here, bro.
No, 100%. And that's the thing. So you see, man, it's like prison, bro.
Yeah,
Listen,
that's not the
any
first time he didn't pass either, by the way. He did the same thing at Villa at 0-0.
but
Then he
this is
lost that game.
the thing. And that man said it's like prison, bro. It's like everywhere. Any place, yeah, where there's a large concentration, yeah, of men. I could speak for men because I am a man. When there's a large concentration of men, whether it's at football, whether it's in the gym, whether it's in prison, whether it's at work, it doesn't matter. Like there's only a matter of time, yeah. If the guys that are perceived to be the leaders show any sign of weakness, they get overthrown and they get undermined. It always happens. It always happens, bro. If there's a guy, and that's why, like, when you watch all these stuff like Power and all these other things, it's basic hierarchy. As soon as the leader shows any sign of weakness, man gets overthrown. It always happens. As soon as man's got a big decision to make and he doesn't make it, or it seems like he's not willing to make that decision, someone in the camp says, yo, let's just go kill this you anyway. You know them ones? Like, how many times you see it? In Power and them things when they're like, yo, we should go run up on this gang. A man's like, nah, it's not the right time. It's not the right time. And someone else just says, yo, cuz, like, can we just go smoke my man anyway? You know, like that. And that's what they do. Then all of a sudden there's a big war now because my man's undermined my man and smoked someone. And now you got someone in your camp that wants your spot. So now you have to get rid of him before he gets rid of you. And that's just what it is. That's what it always happens. They're always infighting, bro. And it's the same in football. Man like Jannard, bro, you know it. Man try to run up on his brother. You know, like that? Because he was like, yo, he's going soft. He's not willing to make the decisions that man want to make. So now, boom. It's like, I have to smoke him. You know what I mean? And this is how it works. And this is what happens in football. Sterling now is at a situation in this Chelsea team now where man don't have the respect for him that they should have for him based on his name and how much money he's coming in and the reputation he's coming. So now, unless he does a mad thing, Cole Palmer's going to step through and be the big dog. And then
he already has.
And then Raheem's going to want another transfer and be someone else, somewhere else now, where he can be the big dog.
He's already lost it. It's just Mudryk hasn't held down the left wing spot yet.
Yeah.
If Mudryk held down that left wing, so he's lost. He's finished. Palmer's already got the right. 4 months in, Palmer's already got a chance. Sterling still hasn't got a chance. Even Madueke's got a chance.
But there you go.
He ain't done nothing.
But that's what I'm trying to say. And that's the thing. He hasn't proven himself. So because he hasn't proven himself, he becomes an issue. He does, indirectly. Through no fault of his own. Maybe it's because there was a certain expectation that was thrust upon him that he didn't deserve in the first place. But it doesn't matter. He still becomes an issue. Same with Rasmus. He'll become an issue if he doesn't start scoring goals. Because then Martial's going to be looking at him. Rashford's going to be looking at him. Jaden's going to be looking at him saying, yo, we spent 70 million on this youth. He's out here running around. Guy can't score no flipping goals. He's rubbish. And there was already murmurs saying that certain Man United players in the dressing room were bemused by the team spending that much money on him and then seeing him and he's rubbish. Also,
I can imagine that.
Also, Mason Mount as well. There was man looking around saying, why did we spend all that money on Mason Mount? We never needed him. These things,
Yep.
bro, like it's only a matter of time. And now Mason Mount's been injured the whole time he's been here. This creates problems. That's what people don't realize. It creates problems, bro. And as a
Yeah.
manager, you have to keep a lid on these things because then it starts to show itself on the pitch and then players stop passing to each other. Same with Anthony. Players didn't want him. And now he's coming. He hasn't proven his worth money-wise. He hasn't proven his worth on the pitch. A man are looking at him like, why is he here? Manager's son. Manager loves him. Guy had some mad allegations, flew to Brazil, came back straight back in the team. But then Varane's getting dropped. But then Casemiro's getting dropped. What's going on, bro? This is how you create unrest. The manager has created so many issues at this club for us that weren't there before he was there. And he's only been there 18 months. Literally. Lissandro's the only one of his signings that he's brought in that everyone's looking at and saying, all right, cool, I see why he brought him here. Oh, no, problems. The man them don't trust him.
Yeah, when you deep it, like I'm thinking from a Chelsea perspective, that's all the more reason why now we have to get the right experienced heads. Can't be bringing in any like the youth project. I understand that we brought in our youth players and that's cool. We don't need to bring in any more, at least for the first team. We gotta be bringing in experienced heads who can actually get the best out of the players around them. Because building on that point, if we bring in like some more 19, 20-year-olds, all the other players are gonna think, why we got more youth here? Is he going to eventually take my spot? Is he eventually going to take this guy's spot, this, that, and the other? We need an experienced head who will come straight into the team and players will think, okay, I see why he's here. He's a baller. Because that builds confidence within the team as well, especially with us in 11th. You'll see a new signing walk in through the door, instantly ball out. They'll be like, all right, cool. He'll help us climb a couple places. I feel a bit excited for the game ahead for the first time in ages. We got a new weapon in the tank. So, yeah, we got to bring the right experience in, the right experience. Because now it's not just about experienced heads. Because I hear what you're saying with Sterling. We brought in Sterling as the experienced head. He weren't it.
You need to bring in experienced, impactful players that are in their prime. Raheem Sterling, yeah, even though he's at a decent age, he's not in his prime. He's past his best.
Yep.
You know
definitely. Well, we ain't catching early City Sterling or...
Yeah,
even
that's
Liverpool
it. You
Sterling.
need to bring in players that are ready to come into this team, straight into the starting 11, win you games, earn the respect of the players, like raise the quality of the squad immediately. That's where Chelsea are in their redevelopment now. They need three or four of those players, and if they get 3 or 4 of those players, yeah, they're title contenders immediately, bro. That's where Chelsea
even with Poch, we'd climb up the table with experience. And that's why I understand the criticisms in terms of the lack of experience. I get that. It's just, to me, again, my bigger problem is that the manager should be having this team in a better position anyway. But now we're going to have to rely on experience because his manager's an idiot. Which is like, all right, cool. I mean, you could paper over the cracks with experience, but eventually Poch will be exposed. It's just... maybe experience would help get us through there, and then he has his 2-year contract pass, so you get rid of him and bring someone else. If that's the idea, I mean, it won't be pretty, but you could firm it because the results will be there. You'll be higher up the table. You'll be competing in Europe. So there's 2 different ways you could manage it. You either get rid of the manager and get experience, and then we just fly, or you get experience and you paper over the cracks, and it won't be pretty, but we won't be 11th. So there's a bit of both.
Facts. Yeah, I mean, yo, you lot, big up everyone inside. Smash up the like button. You already know. We're redirecting to Lewis's channel, and we're back here at 7 o'clock for Red Talk with Flawless, man. We're about to dissect this game. Game from yesterday. When do we play again?
You guys have, I think, was it Forest?
I know, but when is it? Is it New Year's Eve we play or something? I don't even know.
30th, Saturday. You got the late kickoff.
So in a couple of days. Why do they keep giving us these 8 o'clocks, bruv?
No, 5:30.
Oh, right, cool. Not too bad. All right, cool. So, yeah. So
although the FA Cup game's an 8:15 on the 8th of January. So
yeah, me and Flawless about to dissect the game from yesterday. Obviously, these men getting extremely giddy over the performance. The performance was mid. And, yeah, the season is extremely underwhelming, but social media, you wouldn't be able to tell on social media. So we'll definitely be dissecting that. I haven't spoken to Flawless since the game. I haven't spoken to Saeed since the game. I saw his tweet about number 17 though, who Saeed alleged played well yesterday. and he was rubbish. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them ones. To be fair, Saeed's backed him in it. So now every time he does something, he has to kind of, yeah, he has to kind of back it because he's losing this one as well. So yeah, man. Hey,
I'll
big
go
up
down with the
everyone.
ship and all that.
Yeah, that's it. He has to go down with the ship. I hear it. So yeah, we're redirecting to Lewis's channel. We're back at 7 o'clock. So yeah, big up everyone inside. I said he's gone Nacho's lawyer, trust me. So big up everyone inside, man. Back again at 7 o'clock, people. And make sure you subscribe to Lewis's channel if you haven't already. The link is in the title. And we're redirecting